Lincoln's Head was dedicated at Mount Rushmore. Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs not only was the first Disney film, but was also the world's first full-length animated film and Disney's first film to feature a princess. The year is 1937, and this custom-built Packard, bodied by A.J. Miller, was bringing flowers to weddings. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that takes the time to cover cars not often talked about. We cover the classics, vintage, some exotics, lots of orphan cars, and cars that are frankly being forgotten. We dive in deep with specs, history, and design of these rolling works of art. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. This 1937 Packard A.J. Miller flower car is currently on display at Canton Classic Car Museum in Canton, Ohio, where you see cars that you only read about. They have Packards, they have a couple of Cadillac V16, and they also have a 1904 St. Louis, which reminds me, the Greenfield Village is having an old car show pre-1932, Saturday, September 9th, and Sunday, September 10th. I will be up there September 9th, so if you see me up there, be sure to say hi. The museum is taking their St. Louis up there. They're going to trailer it up there, and they are going to drive it through the streets of Greenfield Village. It's going to be epic, and I hope to see you up there. So let's start with the 1937 Packard model lineup. Packard offered junior models and senior models. Starting in the basement with the junior models, brand new for 1937 was the 115C six-cylinder Packard, which rode a wheelbase of 115 inches, followed by the 120, which was available in two series, C or CD, riding a wheelbase of 120 inches. Those were the junior Packards. Stepping up to the senior Packards, you had the Super 8 and the 12. The Super 8 could be had in three series, 1500, 1501, 1502. The 1500 rode a wheelbase of 127 inches, 1501 wheelbase of 134 inches, and 1502 139 inches. Stepping up to the 12 came in three series as well, 1506 on a wheelbase of 132 inches, 1508 wheelbase of 139 inches, 1508 144-inch wheelbase. So let's talk. A.J. Miller of Bellefontaine, Ohio, first began making horse carriages in 1853. The company made its first funeral coach in 1870 or 1871. Sources conflict. A.J. Miller was president of the Bellefontaine Automobile Company, which was a luxury brand. They were in business from 1908 to 1916. In 1917, Miller would make his own chassis, which was powered by a 52 horsepower Continental Flathead 6 engine. By 1922, they switched to Studebaker chassis for the high-end stuff, and they used Dodge for the low-end stuff. Miller used all brands. Miller did one of the five known L29 Cord professional cars, which was an ambulance. They worked with Nash, Cadillac, Chrysler, Pierce Arrow, LaSalle, Buick, Hudson, Willis. In 1954, Wayne's Works in Richmond, Indiana bought A.J. Miller Company, and the company would be known as Miller Meteor from that point forward. Let's talk specs. It rides a wheelbase of 165 inches. It weighs an estimated weight of 4,500 pounds. Price is also an estimate of $4,600, which is equivalent to you spending $97,651.29 in the year 2023. 1937 Packard production. Packard had a stellar year, selling 109,518 units, of which 1,828 of that number was the Super 8 variety. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer, 320 cubic inch displacement, flathead, inline 8, 5.2 liters. It's good for 135 horsepower at 3,200 RPM, an estimated 214 pound-feet of torque at 1,800 RPM, with a bore of 3.2 inches and a stroke of 5 inches. Compression could be had in two different configurations. The standard compression ratio was 6.5 to 1. Optional was 7 to 1.
Let's talk styling. Look at all of the different textures, not textures, look at all the different layers going on with this bumper design. Comes to a nice crease here in the center. It's pretty much like mirrored. So whatever's on the top is on the bottom. Has this nice pinstriping here. Packard logo inside the bumper overrider or bumperette. Just look at how these are mounted. Also check out the front profile. Notice it comes to a point here. Nice Packard crest here. This one has a thermostatically controlled radiator shell. These fins or vents will open and close. Look at how these lights are mounted. They have a nice center line here. I love Packard's hoods. I love the fact that they're not straight. It's not one level. Lots of different tiers and effects going on with this hood design. Goddess of speed there. This one doesn't have vents that you can open. They just have the vents here. Look at the catwalk. Here is how the side mounts are mounted. Notice it has a case around the tire, but this one doesn't have rear view mirrors. So they could be ordered with or without rear view mirrors. I absolutely love this fender design. These wheel wells aren't flared, but it has this like bead that goes around it. These running boards are absolutely massive. I wear size 12 shoe, and that's what it looks like in the front. And then it tapers in towards the back. My size 12 shoe just overhangs ever so slightly. Same thing with this rear wheel well. It has a bead instead of it being flared. Look at this line that comes off the rear fender and then goes out. Gas filler cap is on the driver's side. Just take a look at this rear design. Tail lights, bumpers mimic the front bumpers, but notice these ones don't have overriders like the ones in the front. The overrider's been like clipped off. This one does have a trunk in the back. Super heavy. There's nowhere to really go. But just look at this profile. So that's what storage looks like behind the trunk lid, which is a super heavy trunk lid. This trunk lid probably weighs as much as a Prius. That was a joke. More steel than a Prius, that's for sure. Look up here. So this is a flower car with all of the different flowers in the back. I love that it has this like convertible top thing. I don't know if there's an actual top underneath this. That would be very interesting. But just look at the rear situation. It's like they just took a coupe, kicks out. This car does have drip rails. You see the little line on the door as well. Also, just check out this line here. I love that it runs the length of the car. Super cool. Notice the hinges here. That's because this actually opens, which I think is super cool. So you could use this as a flower car or as a parade car. Pope Mobile. Look at the door panels. They're This almost feels like, it sounds like MDF almost, like a wooden material, almost like a composite. But don't quote me on that. No armrest because you don't really need one. Door handle to get out. Notice there isn't any windows. It's all just door. And look at this massive cutout. This cutout reminds me of like a cord, just the way that this is designed. That's super interesting. Coming up and getting inside, but before we do, just look at this door handle and how it's designed. It's so elegant and Art Deco. And the door's all trimmed out, framed out, I should say. It's got this nice, it feels like broadcloth. Also notice the door doesn't open straight. It tilts as it opens. Notice the top is more away from the door opening than the bottom is, because as the door opens, it tilts out. Also notice the door isn't straight, it curves. Nice armrest. Door handle to get out, window crank for the big window, and it operates like that. Big, huge vent window. Crank opens like that. Coming down inside the pedal box down here, you have the emergency brake over here, clutch, brake, gas pedal. Notice the steering wheel column goes in between the clutch and the brake pedal. Look at how flat that floor is. Take a look at this interior. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person over the hood looks like.
On to the button switches and knobs, starting in the middle, but on the left-hand side, gasoline gauge, coolant temperature, speedometer with odometer at the top and tripometer at the bottom, Packard crest, clock, amp meter, oil pressure, headlights, starter, cowl, hood vent, key, lighter, and hand throttle.
Up above, there are sun visors, and they look like this, pretty big. There's my hand for reference. Nice oval rear view mirror there, and another sun visor for the passenger. Let's take a real quick gander at the greenhouse, or the pillar to glass ratio. And here's what visibility looks like out the back. Notice there is a nice parcel shelf. Getting under the hood, look at how pointy, that's super pointy. The hood's not terribly heavy, but look at the profile. That engine is absolutely gorgeous. Inline, straight 8. Got the generator, fuel pump, starter. Look at the horn situation. 2 massive horns right there. So here is the intake and exhaust side. Downdraft carburetor. Look at the intake. It's underneath the exhaust. The exhaust uses this almost this ram horn setup, similar to what Chevy was doing, and then it all just gets piped in and then out. Distributor right up on top. This looks like the center of the air cleaner, but it has this stuff inside. If anybody knows what that is, in the comment section below, please and thank you. Just look at this hood design. Also has the corners covered so it doesn't scratch anything whenever you go to put the hood back down, which is a really nice feature.
On the positive side, this would be the ultimate mother-in-law type car, back seat in open air comfort with collapsible top and rear access points on both sides, so you don't need to enter the cabin of the car to access the back. But seriously, these are cool. It's like a pickup truck with a trunk. It doesn't have a tailgate, or at least this model didn't have a tailgate. Easy to read gauges, his and her glove boxes. Interior space is a bit cozy, but that over the hood view, wow. Against it, professional cars were rare back in the day, so they're super rare now. Some bodies are even extinct at this point. Body parts, trim parts can be hard to find, and more often than not, they need to be made. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. Two scenarios today. In the first scenario, 1937 Miller carved hearse, which may or may not be coming up soon, or 1937 Miller flower car, or 1937 Packard Henny limo. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Moving on to the second scenario, 1937 LaSalle carved hearse, or 1937 A.J. Miller carved hearse, or 1954 Packard Henny super wagon. Gonna leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or check out our Facebook group that I call the After Party. It gives you the opportunity to share your ride stories and experiences with everybody in the community. If you're interested in that, the link will be in the description below. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email. All of it will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate everything from you guys. I really do. And until next time, toodaloo! Monday, Monday, can't trust that day. Ba-da, ba-da-da, Monday morning. It was all I hoped it would be.